Zin's claws clicked softly against the metal floor as the airlock sealed behind her with a heavy thud, locking her inside the abandoned human outpost. At 90 centimeters, the Vyxari Scavenger's slight frame barely reached the lower panels of the control consoles lining the walls. Her iridescent scales glimmered faintly under the stuttering fluorescent lights, casting fleeting prisms across the grime-streaked surfaces. Two of her four arms gripped a sonic scrubber, its low hum a steady companion as she swept it over the cluttered crew quarters. The other two adjusted her breathing filter, a necessity in the stale, recycled air that carried a sharp, metallic bite. The humans of Outpost Epsilon 9 had vanished 3 weeks ago, leaving behind a wreckage of overturned furniture, shattered data pads, and a silence so thick it pressed against her like a physical force. Her kind were hired for this. Cleaning up the detritus of other species, salvaging what could be sold, but this place felt alive in a way that made her antennae quiver with unease. She moved through the room, her amber eyes scanning the chaos. A table lay on its side, scattered with half-eaten ration bars and a cracked thermos, its contents long dried into a sticky film. Papers, humans and their odd love for paper, fluttered under her steps, their edges singed as if touched by fire. Her upper left arm swept the scrubber in smooth arcs, disintegrating dust and debris, while her lower right arm nudged a chair upright, its legs scraping against the floor. She hummed a soft harmonic trill, a Vyxari trick to calm her nerves, but it faltered, swallowed by the station's oppressive quiet. The generators groaned in the distance, their rhythm uneven, like a dying heartbeat. Zin's tail, segmented, and whip-like, curled tightly around her leg, betraying the anxiety she tried to suppress. The contract had been vague, as always. Unexplained abandonment, it said. Priority cleanup. No mention of what drove the humans away, only that the outpost was to be stripped and prepped for resale. Zin didn't ask questions, credits were scarce, and her clan needed every one. But as she stepped deeper into the quarters, the air grew heavier, laced with a scent her antennae couldn't place. Sweat, yes, but undercut with something acrid, like burnt wiring or ozone. Her 3 hearts beat faster, a staccato rhythm. She felt in her throat. She paused near a row of lockers, their doors hanging open, spilling uniforms and trinkets onto the floor. A small hollow cube lay among the mess, its surface scratched but intact. Curiosity tugged at her, and she reached for it with her upper right arm, her claws careful not to damage it further. The cube flickered to life, projecting a human woman, holding a child, both smiling against a backdrop of stars. Zin's chest tightened, a strange ache she didn't understand. Vyxari didn't form bonds like that, didn't keep images of their kin. She set the cube down, her claws lingering, and forced herself to focus. Her eyes caught on a cot in the corner, its blanket draped with unnerving precision, untouched by the surrounding disarray. It was heavy, synthetic, its surface smooth and oddly clean, as if someone had placed it there deliberately after the chaos. The sight sent a chill through her scales. Her antennae twitched, picking up that same acrid scent, stronger now, mingling with something organic, almost alive. She told herself it was nothing, probably just forgotten gear, but her tail lashed nervously, knocking a stray datapad to the floor with a clatter that made her jump. Zin glided closer, her scrubber still humming in her grip. The air felt denser, here, charged, like the moments before a storm on her homeworld. Her lower arms adjusted her filter, ensuring it was secure, though it did little to ease the prickling along her spine. The cot's metal frame was rusted, its mattress sagging under the blanket's weight, but there was something off about the lump beneath it. It wasn't just bulky, it was uneven, as if it hid something that didn't belong. Her upper left arm hovered over the blanket, claws trembling. Just check it, she muttered, her voice a faint chirp. Clothes, tools, nothing else. But as her fingers grazed the fabric, the lump twitched. Zin's breath caught, her trill dying in her throat. Her antennae flattened, quivering as a low, guttural hum vibrated through the floor. Not the generators, but something closer, alive. The lump shifted again, slow and deliberate, like a creature stirring from sleep. Her lower arms clutched the scrubber tighter, its vibration a faint comfort against the dread coiling in her gut. The movement wasn't random, it had intent, a sluggish purpose that made her scales crawl. "Who's there?" she whispered, her voice barely audible, swallowed by the silence. No answer, just the soft rustle of fabric and that hum, growing, louder, resonating in her bones. Her eyes locked on the blanket, watching as the lump bulged, rising slightly, as if testing the fabric's weight. Her tail lashed, knocking over a chair with a crash that echoed like a gunshot. She flinched, her hearts pounding so hard she felt them in her skull. "Run!" her instincts screamed, urging her toward the airlock, her shuttle, safety, but her legs wouldn't move, pinned by a mix of fear and a strange, morbid need to know. The blanket shifted again, and a shadow stretched beneath it. Long, thin, too many angles. Not human, not Vyxari, not anything she'd seen in her years scavenging. The stars. Her upper right arm gripped the blanket's edge, claws digging in. She didn't want to look, didn't want to see, but her arm moved anyway, yanking the fabric free. It slid to the floor with a soft thud, revealing nothing. Just a stained, sagging mattress, its springs creaking faintly. Zin's breath rushed, out, relief flooding her, but it was fleeting. The hum surged, no longer distant but immediate, vibrating through her chest, her scales, her very core. It was behind her now, close, too close. She spun, her scrubber clattering to the floor, its hum silenced. The air shimmered like heat rising off a desert, and a shape began to form. It was tall, far taller than her, its edges blurred as if it couldn't hold one form. Limbs, too many, too long, unfurled from its mass, each tipped with claws that gleamed like polished obsidian. Eyes, countless and unblinking, emerged from the haze, locking onto her with a hunger that froze her. Blood. They weren't just eyes. They were voids, pulling at her, promising oblivion. Zin screamed, a raw, piercing wail that tore through the silence, echoing off the walls. The sound was primal, a release of every fear she'd buried since stepping onto this cursed station. The thing lunged, its form solidifying into something grotesque, its claws reaching for her throat. She stumbled back, her tail thrashing, knocking over a locker that crashed to the floor. The noise was deafening, but it couldn't drown out the hum, now a roar filling her skull. She scrambled for the airlock, her claws scraping the floor, her forearms flailing for balance. The thing was fast, its movements jerky, like a broken holovid flickering in and out of visibility. Her filter slipped, the metallic air burning her throat as she gasped. She reached the airlock panel, her upper arms slamming the controls, but the screen flashed red, locked, sabotaged, or worse. "No!" she cried, her voice breaking as she pounded the panel, her claws leaving scratches on the glass. The hum was everywhere, suffocating, pressing against her like a living thing. She glanced back, and her heart stopped. The creature was inches away, its claws hovering, its eyes boring into her. They held something ancient, something that had waited in the dark of this outpost long before the humans came. Zin's lower arms grabbed the fallen scrubber, swinging it wildly. Its sonic pulse flared, and the thing recoiled, its form flickering violently, a high-pitched keen splitting the air, not from her, but from it. For a moment, she thought she'd won. The thing retreated, its claws curling inward, its eyes narrowing. She swung again, her arms shaking, her breath ragged. Then the lights flickered out, plunging the room into darkness. The hum stopped, replaced by a silence so absolute it crushed her. Her antennae strained, searching for any sound. But there was only her own breathing, loud and panicked. The scrubber's faint glow was her only light, casting weak shadows across the walls. A claw brushed her arm, cold and sharp, and she screamed again, the sound cut off as something wrapped around her throat, not solid but tight, cutting off her air. She thrashed, her tail slamming the airlock, her arms flailing, but the thing was everywhere, its presence a suffocating weight. Her vision blurred, her heart's faltering, and the last thing she saw was the shimmer of its form against the dark, those obsidian eyes glinting, unblinking as the outpost claimed her.